Hey guys, welcome back to Wildly Passionate. This week we're going to be finishing up the Starving Artist tag and the illustration that I started last week. So again, this was a prompt from Arty Party by Jazza, and I needed to do a piece that was a pyromancer with one eye in royal clothing. So that's what you'll see me working on in the background as I answer the remaining, I believe it is, 8 questions in the Starving Artist tag. So let's get started. Question 12 is, were you supported to pursue art as a child? For me, I was sort of encouraged to be creative. I was encouraged to do anything that I wanted to do, anything that made me happy. But my parents always supported any kind of hobby I had. They bought me like art supplies and books and stuff, to just encourage me to explore things and try as many things as possible. They never really had a discussion like you need to be more practical or anything like that. So I was lucky and I got to just try anything that I wanted, pretty much within reason. Question 13 is, do you make money off of your art? So currently, not really. I've sold a couple things, some cards on Etsy, that kind of thing, but it's not a big income grabber for me. So I'm more focusing on creating a strong portfolio so that I can, get more freelance gigs and commissions and that kind of thing. So one day the dream is to make all of my income from my art, but I'm still very early in my career, so I don't feel like I'm behind in any means. I'm still working on the foundations of my career. Question 14, what do you want to improve on / aspire to be with your future art? So I think basically with any art, you want to get better at it. But also I'd just like to create more unique ideas and concepts. I want to be a little bit more conceptual with what I do. And I'd like to get a stronger sense of the style that I really love working in and that, makes my art unique from, artist X, Y, or Z. And specifically, I'm trying right now to get a little more expressive with color and to be a little bit more bold with it. I usually go towards some like subtle, sort of muted palettes, but I'd like to get a little bit more aggressive with the color and do some more experimenting. Question 15 is, what feelings do you try to express in your art? So for me, I don't necessarily focus on a specific feeling coming across. I think more of art as describing something about who I am as a person and as an artist. It's sort of just reflective of me. So it's kind of like, here I am, this is me, I hope you like it. And so I kind of like the idea of my art being open to interpretation. It doesn't need to just be one feeling. I kind of would hope that the viewer can come up with their own relationship with the piece and, come up with their own conclusions. So, sometimes I might be in a specific mood and my art will reflect that. If I'm feeling down, I might use like cooler colors like blue or something like that and grays. And so you might be able to determine like how I was feeling, but I don't try to force a feeling into a piece if it's not the main goal of me with my art. Question 16 is, what is your favorite thing to paint and why? So for me, that's portraits, hands down. Nothing even really compares to the human figure for me. There is such variety in the way people look, and I just love trying to capture who somebody is in a piece of art. And when I'm drawing a portrait, it just feels like I'm coming home. It's familiar to me, and I love portraits and faces and the human figure. So that's hands down the most fun for me. Question 17, what's the strangest thing you've painted? So for me, this wasn't a painting. It was more of a Photoshop assignment where we had to combine an image of our faces with an animal. So I had, in my photograph of myself, I had like a bun on the top of my head. And so I found a dog with a little ponytail on the top of its head. It's like a little tiny white dog. And so the dog then had my eyes and my lips and my hair a little bit. And it was just one of the creepiest assignments I've ever worked on. It was pretty hilarious looking. Question 18. Have you ever been hung up after you started a commission, and how did you handle it? So pretty much after getting any assignment, I usually will go through a phase of having just no ideas. I feel like I'm frozen. It's very rare when I hear an assignment that I need to do, and immediately I know what direction I want to take it. Sometimes that happens and it's great, but most of the time I feel frozen. So I like to start out with word lists instead of sketching, because words, they come a little bit faster to me, and I can create a more volume of ideas than if I was sketching. So I think a lot of it is just letting stress come and go and judgment come and go, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. So a lot of times I judge my ideas really early on, or I'll be like, that's no good, like it's not going to be the best, most groundbreaking piece of art, you might as well not do it. So I have to sort of get my brain to be kind to itself and let any ideas come, and then just start to like, you get a feeling about the idea if it's going to work or not. Question 19 is a little silly. It's, do you admit that paint smells good? So for me, it's not that, I don't know if it's a good smell, but it is familiar. And so it always sort of reminds me of the headspace that I get in when I'm painting. So it's sort of comforting. Specifically, I'm thinking oil paint has sort of a stronger smell to me. It doesn't bother me. I've never thought it was like bad smelling, but every time I start to paint with oil paint, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the feeling. But definitely, if you're working with art, a lot of art supplies, they have toxic chemicals and odors, so you need good ventilation wherever you work. So I mean, I don't advise sniffing your art supplies at a close distance. So turn on a fan and open a window if you can. So the last and final question, I think, is a really good one. It's, what would you tell your younger self? So I figured this is relating to art. So I would definitely tell myself to start now. Just keep doing it. And I also don't feel bad about copying artwork when you're beginning, because there's so much of a familiarity with the medium of just feeling a pencil, scratching over the surface of a paper and just getting used to that feeling. I would also tell myself not to focus so much on teeny tiny details and just start with the big shapes, start loose. Don't get too focused in on the sort of the tiny things, because your composition is important, that kind of thing. Also, to just stop holding the pencil with like a writing grip, like I'm trying to like death grip on the pencil, and to more draw from my shoulder and my elbow, and just loosen up. I mean, I was a pretty anxious kid, so I would tell myself to just calm down and like do what's fun, just do it when you're bored, draw and just play around. Don't judge everything you make, and don't show everything you make to people. So the last piece of advice I would also give myself, which I only recently learned in college, is that the best artists are those who are willing to scrap an idea when you can see that it's not working, and to start over. So basically, don't get too invested in the beginning of your art, and just start over a lot. Start over again and again and again until you feel like you have something you really like, and don't give up. If you think your art's bad, it's okay, because you're putting in the time, you're showing up for the work, and you're showing your dedication for art, and whatever you do, it's better than nothing. So just to my younger self, don't be too hard on yourself. Please don't be too hard on yourself. So that's it for the Starving Artist tag. I hope that you enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better and maybe watching the illustration. And I hope that you pursue your own starving artist dreams, and all of us can fight together against the stigma of being a starving artist, and just be joyful in your work and have fun with what you do, and be sure to express yourself every day. And so for now, stay passionate and take care.